Okay, I think. Okay. ओ वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ प्रपञ्चसृष्टिन्मुकलास्य कायै समस्तसंहारकताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपित्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां हरिः ओम्। पापोत्पातविमोचनाय रुचिरैश्वर्याय मृत्युञ्जय स्तोत्रध्यान नति प्रदक्षिण सपर्यालोकनाकर्णने जिह्वा चित्तशिरो गृहस्थनयन श्रोत्रैरहं प्रार्थितः माम् आज्ञापय तन्निरूपय मुहुर्मामेव मामेव चः. Is this turning a polymetal coming? Okay. गाम्भीर्यं परिकापदं घनधृतिप्राकार उद्युद्गुणस्तोमश्चाप्तफलं गणेन्द्रियचयोद्वारा निदेहे स्थितः विद्यावस्तु समृद्धिरित्य किल सामग्रि समेते सदा दुर्गादिप्रियदेव मामक मनो दुर्गे निवासं कुरु मा गच्छ त्वम् इतस्ततो गिरिशवो मय्येव वासं कुरु स्वामिन् आदिकिरात मामक मनः कान्तारसीमान्तरे वर्तन्ते बहुशो मृगा मदजुषो मात्सर्यमोहादयः स्तान् हत्वा मृगया विनोदरुचिरा रुचिता लाभं च सम्प्राप्स्यसि करलग्नमृगः करीन्द्रभङ्गः घनशार्दूलविकण्ठनोऽस्तजन्तुः गिरिशो विशदाकृतिश्च चेतः कुहरे पञ्चमुखोऽस्ति मे कुतोभिः छन्दःशाकिशिकान्वितैर्द्विजवरैर्संसेविते शाश्वते सौख्यापादिनिकेतभेदिनि सुधासारैफलैर्दीपिते चेतपक्षिशिखामणे त्यजवृता सञ्चारमन्यैरलं नित्यं शङ्करपादपद्मयुगळि नीडे विहारं कुरु आकीर्णे नकराजिकान्ति विभवैरुद्युत्सुधा वैभवैः आदौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंस गिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे. So, Shivananda Lahari, a great text on bhakti, and what is, although the presiding deity which is being addressed is Shiva, Shivananda Lahari, as we have seen so far, there are three dimensions which we can see. There is, of course, there is a Devata Aradhana, which is a Shiva, that we are able to see. The second thing that we see is Acharya has exhibited a lot of his poetic, his kavitva. So Acharya has shown his proficiency in being a nice poet. You know, there are similes, there are so many nice things. That is the second dimension that you see in Shivananda Lahiri. And the third dimension you see in Shivananda Lahiri is there is also Vedanta. So it is bhakti on one side with an Aradhana Devata of Shiva. There is a nice poetic, there is, aesthetics, there is these alankaras. So many nice things are being also attempted. And of course, there is a good discussion of Vedanta. So this is how this Shivananda Lahari, gets its real appeal, which is a little different from many of the stotras that Shankaracharya has written. Now, in the last shloka that we saw, Akirne Nakarajikanti Vibhavehi Udyudgana Vaibhavehi Adote, Padmaragalalite Hamsavrajaihi Ashte. So here the entire description is that the Chetas is like a bird. That is how in every shloka he is trying such things. That's why he says Manasa Rajahamsa. This Manas is being portrayed as a Rajahamsa. So Manajaraham Rajahamsa Girija Nathangri Saudhantare. The Shiva's Padangri is like a nida, like a nest. So you are a bird, go and rest there. So that is how this particular shloka we saw. Now this is followed by two shlokas which we will see today. Now, if you think of a bird, right? And if the bird has to flock to a place, that place needs to be naturally a place of attraction for the bird. Normally, no? So the next two shlokas, Shankaracharya talks about, there are two things he talks about. One is a garden, another is a lake. Because these are two places where the birds flock. Because in a garden you have nice things, flowers are there, fruits are there, the makaranda is there, etc., etc. And birds invariably go to lakes because they need water bodies. So following this shloka where he says that the Manas is a Rajahamsa, he is following it with two shlokas. In one shloka he brings beautifully that the Manas is nothing but a garden. So everything is self-contained now, sort of. Then in the following shloka, he is going to show that Shambhudhyana is like a sarovara. The very idea of doing Shambhudhyana is like a sarovar. So these are the two things which we will see in the next two shlokas. We will see those shlokas. So we'll first talk about a beautiful garden. Only then we know how poetically Shankaracharya has brought it, how nicely he has connected it to the subject matter on hand. This is the charm of Shivananda Lahari that we have been seeing. So if you talk of a garden, I think the first thing that comes to our mind is Vasanta Ritu. Because the best time for a garden is Vasanta Ritu, which we will soon get there. Because, the climate is very nice, you have very nice wind. Then, of course, the old leaves are all dropped. You have fresh leaves blossom, flowers are there, fruits are there. That's why it says, Ritunam Kusumasmi, is what he said. Kusmakaraha is what he says, even in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter. So the best time to go to a garden, particularly in a tropical region, is Vasanta Ritu. So that is the first thing Acharya also thinks about. He says, when you talk of a garden, first we need the gentle breeze, which is very characteristic of Vasanta. The Grishma Kala is over, the temperature is all, we are now going through that. Slowly it will warm up, it will be a little more pleasant than what it is now. So all that. So that's the first Lakshana. First Lakshana that we see is the old leaves will drop. They will all be yellow, ripe. In fact, every day I walk from my office, house to my office, I always think about this. See, what is really what I see in IAM. And every time I see it, between the month of January, December, there is a massive fall off. So much so that it piles up to some 30 feet. That much, because the trees are far too many there. But what is so interesting, I keep thinking about it every time this happens every year, that we all carry a lot of inertia. We have so much of inertia. We carry old thoughts, we carry old things. We, keep everything. We don't give up anything. But see how the nature is informing us. These trees, particularly those two massive trees at the main entrance, at Aralikate, completely they shed and becomes only the bark, nothing else. So it is actually informing us that it is very important for us to rejuvenate. They are having a yearly cycle. I don't know what is our cycle. I have no idea. So certainly it is all so beautifully managed that and it happens to most of the trees. Huh? That's why there is a fall season also in the beyond the Cancer and Capricorn. It's slightly different. The Atlantic, Arctic and Atlantic, those region, but they call it as a fall season. There is a self-regulatory mechanism in which we have to drop off things. So that is the first thing that we have to remember when we talk of Vasanta Ritu. That old leaves which are all yellow in color or whatever, and then they're all dropping and falling. That's the first thing that we need to remember. That heralds the arrival of Vasanta Ritu. And in it, those fresh leaves are absolutely fabulous. It's like you have dipped it in oil and polished it. So shining, so fresh and tender, right? That is the real arrival of Vasanta. Vasanta Ritu is characterized by the freshness of that leaf in terms of its look, texture, color, whatever you call it. And that alligator leaves are so beautiful to see. And this is something which I enjoy every year when I walk through the those trees and so on. So the old leaves fall, and in its place, fresh leaves appear, which are all absolutely beautiful and shining. Ekdam fresh, right? That's what they say, na? Very nice. So this is the second imagination of Vasanta, Vasanta Ritu. Then the fresh buds of flowers appear. That is the third chronological event that we see. And, kind of flowers. See, this country, particularly if you go below, 10 degrees north or 12 degrees north, you come below. See, the kind of flowers you get here, you'll never get, kind of flowers you get in Tamil Nadu, you'll get nowhere in India. You go to Bombay, you get only the yellow color, that marigold. When I was in Delhi in 91, I used to go to Malay Mandir, and every day they airlift, because I want jasmine. Every day they airlift jasmine from Tamil Nadu to Delhi. What I'm talking is 90s. Huh? And at that time, I used to buy one modana of jasmine for about 50 rupees at that time, which is very, so I go once in a week and buy on a Friday or something. It's just too much. But what I'm saying, this place is full of flowers. That's all because of that equator and plus or minus 10. That's why the biodiversity plus or minus 15, you can say. That's why Western Ghats has phenomenal biodiversity. So fresh buds of flowers. This is again a good indication of the arrival of Vasanta Ritu, right? Huh. And of course, some flowers are fully blossomed, so the fragrance starts spreading because they are all happening in stages. Now, you buds come, and then some of the buds become full-blown flowers. The petals open, the makarandas, the fragrance spread. This Brahmakamalam. I used a Brahmakamalam in my house in IAM. 2 years or 3 years back, once I remember, and it blossoms only in the night, right? At about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, we were sitting in the dining, the dining area, the side door is there, no? It was a very strong, very good smell, Sugandha. When you open, that day there are 30 or 40, 30 of them. They are all opening. What a fragrance here. Absolutely fabulous. By 12:31 in the night, it will become like this. So that time, that's such a strong fragrance, Sugandha. So flowers fully blossom, spreading a nice fragrance. These are all lakshanas of Vasanta Ritu. Okay? And think of a garden in the Vasanta Ritu, that garden is very special. Otherwise, the same garden in the fall season is all bereft of leaves and flowers, and because of the cold climate, it is conserving itself. That is the idea there. So then flowers will become fruits. And again, in this country, the best time to have fruits is March, April, May. What 800 varieties of mangoes? Mango allows us 800 varieties. I mean, from sometime March to August, September, festival time, adike jumbo plums, adu ella banbide guava. So these are all the fallout of Vasanta Ritu. So all this is the chronological order of Vasanta Ritu. Old leaves must fall in its place, fresh leaves must come in, then buds of flowers, then some flowers open up, fragrance, some of them convert into. Now the mango is full of flowering now. Already we are seeing mangoes are all flowering. Yeah, some of the early crops have already started. So this country, it's all February to August is when you get the best of all these. So that is the next thing. So these are all the background for the garden. The garden is at its best because of Vasanta Ritu, because garden will have all these. Then garden also needs nice creepers and trees dotting the garden space. That only gives these different colors of flowers, different colors of yielding fruits and so on, etc., etc. So nice creepers and so on. That is the other lakshana of a beautiful garden. And nothing like we sit in the garden and there is a nice gentle breeze which blows through the garden, then it's all value for money. So you need all. Shankaracharya has put all of them in one shloka. That is why I am actually spending this much time to first talk about what is the lakshana of a beautiful garden. Now, Acharya has done two things. One, he has brought all these lakshanas into a shloka. Second, he has the responsibility, also the burden of connecting it to our main discussion, which is bhakti and evolution. So that also he has done. So throughout we see this in Shivananda. The last 20 shlokas or more, we are seeing it. But that is so special about Shivananda. So we will see that shloka now. With this background, let us see how he says, he portrays a garden and connects it to what we are discussing. शम्बुद्यान वसंत संगिनी हृदरामे गजीर्णच्छदाः स्रस्ता भक्तिलताश्चटा विलसिता पुण्यप्रवालाश्रिताः दीप्यन्ते गुणकोरकाः जपवच पुष्पाणि सद्वासना ज्ञानानन्द सुधामरन्द लहरी संवित्फलाभ्युन्नतिः. So let me do a bit of Padacheda. Shambudhyana Vasanta Sangini. That is a single Samastapada. Shambhum Uddishya Danaha Shambudhyana. That is the first Samasa. Vasanta Sangini. Sangini is a breeze actually. So Sambudhyana Vasanta Sangini. That is the first pada. Hrida Arama. Arama is garden. So the Hridaya is the garden now. Hridaya is the garden in which there is a breeze. So all that we will see. Okay. Hridarama. Aga Jirna chataha. Agaha jirnascha. Aga is papa. Jirna is eaten up or consumed or ripe or whatever. Jirna chataha. Chataha are leaves, parnas. So jirna chataha. Okay. Srastaha. They are all falling. Srastaha. Jirna chataha srastaha. Bhakti lataschataha. Okay. That is the next pada. Bhakti eva lata, bhakti lataschataha, samuhaha. Chataha means group. Vilasitaha, pushpa pravalashitaha. Okay. Deepyante, separate word. Guna eva korakaha, guna korakaha. Koraka is the bud of a flower which is yet to open. That's called koraka. Korakaha, korakaha. Guna korakaha. Japavachaha pushpani. Okay. Sadvasana. Jnanananda Sudhamaranda Lahari is a single samastapata. Jnanascha Anandaucha Jnananandau. Sudhacha Marandacha Sudhamarandau. Like that. Lahari, the wave. Sambit Palabhyunnatihi. So this is the shloka. Now, the whole shloka actually portrays a garden, but it also talks about bhakti. So that's where first we will see the garden part and then we'll see the bhakti part later. So he says Vasanta Sangini, that Vasanta Kala breeze, the gentle breeze that happens in Vasanta Kala, that is the Vasanta Sangini. Then the garden, Hridaya is the Arama, so Hridaya Arama, that is the garden. So there is a garden in which there is this breeze of the Vasanta Ritu, Vasanta Sangini, Hridaya Arama. Then Jirna Chataha. As I told, the start of the Vasanta Ritu is marked by Srastaha Jirna Chataha. So the ripe leaves, Jirna are the ripe, Chataha are Parnaha. So Jirna Chataha Srastaha. So the leaves are all falling. Okay. Then Lata Chataha. So there are groups of creepers. Because the idea of, see, that is attached to bhakti. That part of it I'll come to. Why he put it along bhakti, we will see later. But all that I'm saying is the garden has creepers. And Lakshana of a creeper is it keeps growing rapidly. It goes and goes. That speed of growth we don't see in a normal tree. Creepers are tender, so they can tend to be longer and so they grow faster actually. Right? So here, Lata Chataha, there are a lot of creepers which are all sort of there. Punya Pravalashitaha. Right? So, Vilasitaha, all these, the Pravalas are the fresh leaves. So once the old leaves drop, the new leaves will come. That is the fresh leaves. That is the Pravala Ashitaha. Pravalaha is the Nutana Parnaha. Ashitaha. So this garden is now made of fresh leaves. Okay? Deepyante. Deepyante can be taken for any aspect. The whole garden is glowing. It's not only that the leaves are glowing. It is not that only the creepers are glowing. So that can be taken for the entire garden. So Deepyante, right? Then the garden has Korakaha, the buds. Here it is attached to Guna. Okay. Then there are Pushpani. The Japa Vachas are Pushpani. So that again you have the Pushpanis. And you have the Sadvasana coming out of it. Because the flowers, nicely let out the odor, no? Good asanas. Then you have Sudha and Maranda. Maranda is Makaranda. Makaranda is that pollen carries that fragrance, basically. Sudha is that Amrita in the flower, na? So Sudha Makaranda. Then Pala. Abhyunnatihi Pala. Some high quality, good, tasteful fruit. So all the second element of this shloka all describe every element of a garden. You have the breeze, which is Vasanta Sangini. You have a garden, Arama. Then you have the Jirnachataha, Srastaha Jirnachataha. The garden has some fallen old leaves, right? Then you have the creepers, groups of creepers are there. Latach Chataha. Then Pravalashitaha, fresh leaves, which are all there. Then Korakaha, buds are there, which are yet to open. Some of them are still at that stage. Then you have Pushpani. So all the second terms. Pushpani, Vasana, good, nice fragrance. And then Sudha and Maranda Lahari. Then Phala, Abhyunnatihi Phala. So the second term in this shloka brings all the lakshanas that we talked about. All these are part of the second term in that shloka. Every one of these is... So if you take the shloka like that, it looks as though Shankaracharya is actually painting a very nice garden. A certain imagery of the garden. Now let us see how he is connecting to bhakti. So he says, he says the heart is the garden now. Hridaya Aramaha. So, because the bird has to go and reside there. Please remember the previous shloka, he said Manajara Sahamsa. Right? So the bird has to go and reside and take alaya, ashraya, whatever you want to call it. So that has to be in the heart. That's what our Vedantic, this is a Vedantic discussion. It has to finally, reside in the heart, which means there is a Atma Nivedanam that happens. So he says the garden for the bird, where the bird has to go, is the heart. So that is a connection with the previous shloka. So he says, Hrida Aramaha. Then what is this old leaves which are gone, which is Aga. Aga is Papa. So this effort of bhakti that we start, the first thing, what happens in Vasanta Ritu? First the leaves have to drop. Only the new leaves come, na? They are ripe and they fall. So as we progress in this bhakti, in whatever ways we start, the first thing that will happen is some of our propensity to get into this papa will come down. That's the meaning. What it really shows is it narrows down, it tapers. So the aga are the jirnachadaha, right? And then srastaha. Then the creepers are the bhakti. Why? Because it will grow slowly, it will grow. And once it picks up, it grows faster. So the equivalent of the creepers is the bhakti. When these evil thoughts slowly recede, the possibility of bhakti becoming more and more possibility increases. So that shows the growing of the creeper. That's how the creeper grows. So the bhakti is, in fact, there is a next shloka. After today's two shloka, there is a next shloka which says bhakti is a creeper. Anyway, at that time we will see it in some detail. Shankaracharya has brought a separate shloka for that. For now, we will understand that bhakti is like a creeper. Details follow in shloka 49. Like that you can say. Please refer shloka 49 for details. Like that we can say. Then, what are these new leaves? In the place of Papa Karya, we start doing Punya Karyas. Good karmas will slowly gather. Simply because our mind is turned. See, it all depends on what we do. If we engage in some nonsense, it will be more and more of that. If we want to move a little bit, show a little interest in bhakti and so on, then the proportion of the Punya Karya will only increase. That is what showing up as the flowers, as the new leaves which are sprouting. After everything is fallen, the fresh leaves are coming. No? So he says, so the antonym of Aga is actually Punya. So because of old flower leaves are gone, new leaves have come. So he uses the word Punya, Pravalashitaha. Then gunas are linked to the bud. Why? Because these three gunas, if the Trigunas is a potential for us to actually show who we are. But the way we be, it's a part of our psychological construct at the end of the day. If somebody is overly tamasic, he or he will show it in the way he deals. If somebody is sattvic, he or she will show it in their vyavahara. So what is going to happen, what is going to follow is in a way known from the gunas. So the fragrance that is going to come later is already known because by the guna that you have, by the flower which is yet to open. That's why the unopened flower is related to the gunas. That they see the potential for something to happen. Right? That's why gunakorakaha. Then japavachaha pushpani. When we start treading the path of little bhakti, we'll start telling some shlokas. There will be a habit of half an hour morning, half an hour, 1 hour in the evening. So as we keep on doing this, those beautiful, descriptions of the Lord, which are all part of the stotras, actually bring that fragrance. So they have all become pushpas now. So the equivalent of because of our change in our guna, we actually follow that kind of a path. And because of that, we do the japa, we do the japa vacha is, stotra parayana and whatever we want to do. Our thoughts become a little more aligned to the godliness. So that brings the fragrance in our life. So japa vacha pushpani and sadvasana. Now what happens is, if somebody gets like this, then their samskaras, their sangha will become little satsanga. It will not become nissanga. We start selecting what to do, where to go, whom to talk to, whom to spend time with. So that sadvasana will come. Our association gets a little bit modified and adjusted on account of all these. Our papa comes down, little bit we get into a little godly thought. And so therefore our vasana also gets a little purer. So this vasana is the Vedantic meaning of the vasana we can take. So sadvasana. All these will lead to a bit of sadvasana. Samskaras will become a little cleaner. So the future janmas are better investments in this path that we are going. So sadvasana. That is what is the other part of it. Then what is the Sudha? Sudha is Amrita. That is the Jnana. See, there are 2 words here and 2 words there. So you have to map one on one. That's how in Sanskrit many things are done. So it says Jnana and Ananda, and you have Sudha and Makaranda. So the Ananda is the Makaranda. The Jnana is the Sudha. All these effort that we do will lead us to that Jnana. And that gets us that Ananda. Right? So that is like the flower has opened. Now the fragrance will gently flow. Lahari. That's why the word Lahari is used. The beautiful fragrance will now, with all these conditions, which are all very, very nice and conducive for this to happen, finally the flower really opens, and that Makaranda and that Sudha, that nectar, a bee comes and partakes the nectar, and that fragrance also is partaken by everyone, right? So the whole thing goes. So that is why Lahari, the word Lahari is used. Jnanananda, Sudha Maranda is Makaranda actually. Makaranda Lahari. Then what is the Pala? That is Samvit. Samvit is to know that final ultimate truth. Samyak Jnayate iti Samvit, na? Samvit Pala Abhyunnatihi Palaha. So this whole effort will lead us to reaching that ultimate goal of that liberation and moksha that we are talking about. That is the Pala, Samvit Pala, Samvit Abhyunnatihi. But for all these to happen, the starting is Shambhuddhana, Shambhuddhyanananda, Vasanta Sangini. The Shambhuddhyana is the starter. That nice Vasanta Ritu, that's why the Kala must come, the right Kala must come. The right time comes when we do the Shambhuddhyana. So the Shambhuddhana will beget all these transformations that can happen in us. So that is how Acharya is bringing the whole idea here. There is a garden, there is a bhakti, and there is a Vedanta. Everything you find in this shloka. Shambudhyana Vasanta Sangini Hrida Rame Gajirna Chada Srasta Bhakti Latas Chata Vilasita Punya Pravala Shrita Deepyante Gunakoraka Japavacha Pushpani Sadvasana Jnanananda Sudha Maranda Lahari Sambit Palabhyunnatihi. So this is the mapping. So you have the garden. The gentle breeze is mapped to Sivadhyana. That's why he says Sambudhyana Vasanta Sangini. The old ripe leaves are mapped to the sins. That's why we say Agajirna Chataha Srastaha. Fresh shining leaves is mapped to Punya. That's why Vilasitaha Punya Pravalashitaha. And radiating fresh flower buds are related to the Sadgunas. That's why Deepyante Gunakorakaha. Fragrant blossoming flowers is nothing but the japa. So japa vachaha pushpani sadvasanaha. And the beautiful creepers are bhakti. Bhakti lata chataha. And sambit is the phalabhyunnatihi. And the fruits giving us nectar is jnanananda. Sudha, and that's why jnanananda sudhamaranda lahari. So this is how Acharya portrays the mind as a god, the Hridaya as the garden. And since the earlier shloka talked about the Pakshi, it says go and flock there. And for which, what draws you there is Shambudhyana. That is what will draw you there. And then once you go there, you will get all these. So that is how this shloka is there. So as I told you, the bird requires, a garden is a place where the bird will flock. That's why this shloka is talking about the garden. Another place where the bird will always flock is a water body. So the next shloka is about a water body. So that is what Acharya has put as the next shloka in this order. They're all connected. You just see how much of connection that happens with these shlokas one after the other. So we'll see the Lakshana of a water body now. And then see how Acharya actually brings it so beautifully in his... First of all, a water body must have water. Otherwise, there are some keres which are all being used as playgrounds now. So the first lakshana of a water body is you should have water. Water, if it is there, it will be most likely fresh because, it's always sort of coming and so on. So, repository of water is the first lakshana of a water body, right? Oh, there is an order. Okay. So, and the water has to be clear and pure. If it is a stagnant, filthy water, that water body, no birds will flock. Nobody will flock for that matter. Right? So the second lakshana is it should be clear and pure. Right? Huh? Then the third thing is the greatness of a good lake is to have bhuja. The lotus adds to the whole the gambhirya of the lake itself. If you see the lake with full lotus, it is a pleasure. In South Tamil Nadu and Kerala and all, you will see. Because you see a lot of lotus ponds there. Huge lakes with lotus. But the supply of lotus for Madras happens only from Nagarkoil, from Tirunelveli district, and with a lot of lotus. Because I think Chengalpattu district also may have some. So lotus. Lotus is another nice thing about a nice water body. And if all those are there, it will be sought after by birds. So birds have to come. Only then it adds the next charm to the water body. No? If all these are there, the birds will come anyway. So it is sought after by the birds. And it should have the capability. In fact, that is why a lot of people go and take a dip in a lake, because the natural beauty and the natural vitality of whatever, these are all natural water. It is not man-made. So they have the capacity to wash off the dirt. And that's why the Tirtha Snana is part of our cultural thing. They go and do Tirtha Snana. Because nowadays many lakes are all spoiled. That's a different story. But what I'm saying is, if there are fresh, If you go to Mansarovar, the lake is very fresh. Some of the Himalayan lakes are very fresh. Nobody, that's why, in Kumbh Mela, 50 crores people also dip, nothing will happen. Ganges will be, may look temporarily this way, that way, but then it has so much of vitality actually. So, that's why people go and flock there. Radiating good fragrance, with all these flowers and all that, if there is a nice fragrance, why not? That's a very great Lakshana of a lake. And all these are available 365 days. It's not that, the lake is all Lakshanas are there, but it will dry up for 4 months. Nothing will be there. That is another type of a lake. If all these are there forever, that's a great. So Acharya has brought all these into a shloka. Again, he brought all these Lakshanas into a shloka, and he is going to connect it also to what is our subject. This is how these shlokas are anyway going. नित्यानन्दरसालयं सुरमणिस्वान्ताम्बुजाताश्रयं स्वच्छं सद्विजसेवितं कलुषहृत् सद्वासनाविष्कृतं शम्बुद्यानसरोवरं व्रजमनो हंसावतं सस्थिरं किं क्षुद्राश्रयपल्वलभ्रमण सञ्जातश्रमं प्राप्स्यसि. Nityananda Rasalayam. Okay. Suramunihi. Munibihi actually. So, it's actually Samastapada. Suramunihi Swantambujata. Ambujata Ashrayam. Swantambujata Ashrayam. Right. Swacham. Sad Dvija Sevitam. There are two das there. Sad Dvija. Sat becomes in Sandhi da, then there is another da for Dvija. That's why you have that, this fellow, there's two da. Sadvija Sevitam Kalushahrit Sadvasana Avishkritam. Okay? Shambudhyana Sarovaram Vraja Manaha. In Sandhi it became Mano, Manaha, He Manaha. It's actually a Sambodhana. We'll see what this shloka is saying. Hamsavatastam stiram kim kshudra ashraya palvala brahmana sanjata shramam prapsyasi. So let's go to the last two lines and then come to the first two lines. He manaha, okay. Hamsavatamsa, Hamsa Avatamsa is a superior variety of the bird. So you why don't be like a superior variety of a Hamsa? Hamsavatamsa Stiram Raja. Where? In Shambhuddhana Sarovaram. Why don't you go and with all your Gambhirya, go and reside in the Sarovar called Shambhudhyana. Okay? Instead of doing it, why do you want to do this? Kim. Why? Kim, do you want to do this? Kim is used like that in Sanskrit. Kim etat kartum ichchati. Kim prapsyasi. That's what he is asking. Do you want to get the other thing? And what is the other thing? Kshudra ashraya palvala brahmana sanjata shramam. It's a single word. First it is Kshudra. Kshudra is inferior, no? Wasteful. That's called Kshudra. Wasteful. Okay? Ashraya. Trying to flock and be part of it becomes wasteful. If you do that, it's a wasteful effort. Okay? Where? Palvala. Palvala is a word which is a small little pond, dirty pond. That's called Palvala. So there may be water, there may be little water, there may be sometimes no water, it may be smelling or whatever. That's called Palvala. So Palvala Brahmana. Why are you keep on looking, going here and there and looking for the small little ponds, which doesn't offer you anything great? By their very nature, it is like that. So Palvala Brahmana Sanjata Shramam. The effort that you put, so all these are in single word now. Shramam is the effort, Sanjata is Atanam. either udar. Huh? And Brahmana is also that, and where are you going? You're going to the Palvalas, which are all Shudrashraya Pala. It doesn't even going to give you anything great. So, Kim Prab says, what are you going to get like this? See, the question is, there is a very beautiful lake here. It's a very beautiful lake, well applied, well appointed with all lakshanas that we talked about. And there are some chota mota, small, little things. So the question is, which one do you want to choose? So that's the question that Acharya is asking. Which one do you want to choose? Do you want to go to these, keep on, oh, go here, that's not okay, you go here, that's not okay, you go here, that's not okay. So you want to keep on waste your effort like that, or you want to go to a lake which is so beautiful. That beautiful lake is Shambhudhyana Sarovara. So he now says Shambhudhyana is like a lake. Why don't you get into Shambhudhyana? That's what he's saying. He's saying, why don't you get into Shambhudhyana? Because that will be very good for you, because it has certain features and that features are really good for you. So this is what is happening in the last two lines. So the last two lines he says, there is the Shambhudhyana Sarovar. That is very good. You have given it up and you can be, in fact, it says, Stiram Vraja, He Manaha. Hamsavatam Stiram. Like a very majestic Rajahamsa, you can be there. You have given it up and then doing something else, going here and there. Why are you doing it? So this is the last two lines of the shloka. Now, why is this Shambhudhyana a beautiful lake? That is there in the first two lines. So, let us see. First he says this lake is Rasalayam. Rasasya Alayah. Rasalayah. Rasa is water, no? In fact, Taittiriya Upanishad, Raso Vaisaha, Rasagihyevananda Bhavati. So that is a Vedanta part. We'll come to it later. Now a lake must have that rasa, which is the water. It should be the alaya of water. That's why you should have water throughout. So he says this lake is a rasalaya. Therefore, it is a good lake. Rasalayam. So again here, the second word talks about the lake in every pada. The first part of the pada will talk about the bhakti and the Vedanta. That's how the words are all tied together. Okay? So, Rasalayam. Then he says, Suromanihi Swantambu Jatashrayam. Ambujatashrayam. That lake, Ambuja is lotus. Ambujatashrayam is that which is adorned, which is the ashraya for all the lotuses. Right? So this lake has some beautiful lotuses here. Why do you want to go somewhere? So that is the second lection of the lake that you see here. There are some nice lakes are there. Okay. Swacham. The lake is clear. It's not dirty water and all that. It is very crystal clear, like the Himalayan glaciers kind of lakes which melt and such clear water comes out of it. Swacham. Right? Sadvijaha sevitam. Dvija here means birds. Birds also is Dvija. We already saw it in one of the earlier thing also. Because they are Andajaha. So the first birth is the Anda, second birth is the tongue coming. That's why the birds are also called Dvijas. Sadvijas, good birds actually flock these. Why are you waiting? Some good birds are flocking this lake because the lake is good. So he says, Sadvija Sevitam. Sadvija Sevitam. So some very nice birds are already flocking. You have the Siberian cranes all the way from there come and sit in Ranganathitu or somewhere in Shimoga. Okay, no? So yeah, the lakes attract from such long distances because they offer something very good. So like that, Sad Dvija Sevitam. This lake is flocked by some good birds. So what is your problem? Right? Kalusha Hrit. This lake it has the capacity to remove any amount of dirt because it is an infinite source of purity. A large water body perhaps. Therefore, it can, that's why I said Mahamaha, you can, Mahakumbha, Mahakumbh, you can, nothing will happen because it is such a large body of water which is taking away everything and then the place is still, the water is still clean. Any amount of 50 crores is such a huge number here. 1 in 2.5 Indians or somebody is actually going there is unimaginable kind of numbers actually. Anyway, so it says, Kalusha Krita. Sadvasana avishkritam. You have such a clean water, good lotuses and so on. It will have nice fragrance. There are a lot of aquatic things will be there. Sadvasana avishkritam. So all these are the lake part of it. So the lake has all these nice attributes. So it's a good lake. Why do you want to go to some other chota mota lakes and so on? Now comes the other part. It says Nityananda Rasalayam. Right? If you do Shambhudhyana, what will happen? You will experience Nityananda. Nitya Ananda. That is the value for this. This entire Shambhudhyana is contingent upon getting that Nityananda. Like the lake is contingent upon having water. Right? That's why the Nityananda is the Rasalaya for an equivalent of a lake, which is the Shambhudhyana. So it will constantly give you Nityananda. It will be endowed with Nityananda. That is a very Lakshana of Shambhudhyana. As much as water is the Lakshana of a lake. So Shambhudhyana is Nityananda. Okay. Suramunihi. Right. Great people offer their Hridaya Kamala in the Shambhudhyana. So in that lake called Shambhudhyana, great munis offer their Hridaya Kamala. That's what he's saying. Some, it says Sura Munihi Swanta Ambuja, Swa Anta Ambuja. Hridaya Kuhare, what we saw sometime before, no? Chetak Kuhare, Panchamukosti, all that we saw. So the Hridaya Kamala, all these great people offer. So they, in the Shambhudhyana Saro, you'll find all these people offering their Hridaya Kamala. So that is the other part of the lotus being part of that lake. Those who are all the Shambhudhyana offer their Hridaya Kamala as part of the lake, in the lake. So you find all these nice lotuses there. Swacham. The very Shambhudhyana will clean up our thoughts over time. It has the potential and propensity to clean up our thoughts. It will make us pure. Our thoughts will become pure. The purity of thought will happen. And the purity of thought will happen because of this dhyana. Right? So, Swacham, Sadvija Sevitam, all well-meaning Dvijas, the Brahmanas and all those who actually want to reach the path of salvation would walk only this path. Sadvijaihi Sevitam. All of them will do only the same thing. So why do you have to look at it in any other ways? The Shambhudhyana is the very necessary condition for you to, liberate and then evolve yourself. So, Sadvijaihi Sevitam Kalusha Hrit. See, what is happened? The dhyana brings bhakti. And that bhakti can be in many ways. You have the Navavida bhakti that we talk about. Archanam, Padasevanam, Smaranam, Atmanivedanam. All that different, we saw it, one of the earlier things. More and more we do it, it will only clean up. It will only clean up our thoughts, it will only clean up our vasana. So what will happen is Kalusha Hrit. This Sambudhyana has the inherent potential to remove your papas, your kalushas. They will the kalushyam will go over a period of time because it has the infinite potential to clean and take out these things out of us. So Kalusha Hrit. And after all that, what happens? Sadvasana. The samskaras get purer. Our vasanas become sat. So here the vasana is the vasana. So sat vasanas will happen. The cleansing of our samskaras will happen. So our vasanas will become purer and purer. So that is why the Shambhudhyana must be a lake. And why don't you be part of that lake? And why do you want to try so many other different ways of doing what to do? That's when Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, Ye etamam prabhadyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. Mama vartman vartante manishya partha sarvashaha. So, you can go through all these. It will be a longer route. You can go to different things. But after finding all that, you'll have to finally come here. That is what it is. It says, why do you want to do all that? Many people have already, it's a tested, tried, proven path. Because Suramunihi Swantambujatashyam, all that he is saying, that's why don't you come here? So that is how he brings the other part of the Vedanta and the Bhakti into the same shloka, keeping Shambhudhyana like a lake and putting all the features of the lake around and then linking it. So that is what is happening here. Again, what you see here, the Shambhudhyana is the lake. Okay? And the repository of water is the Nityananda. That will be there when you do Shambhudhyana, the Nityananda will be there. It will be it's a Nityananda. Nityananda. And then the lotus are the Suramuni Swamta Ashrayam. Suramunis are the ones who bring that Hridaya Kamala. So they are the lotus in this lake. Okay. And then, Swacham. He is, Nishkalanga. Suddha, Buddha, Mukta, all that we can say, Nishkalanga, Niramaya, Nirantara, all adjectives we can put. That's why it is Swacham. Right? It's Nishkalanga. There is nothing stainless. That's what the ultimate Tattva is. Sought after by the birds. Here the Dvija means the Brahmins. There it is mean the birds. Right? And Kalusha Hrit is the Papa Nivritti will happen. As we do the Shambhudhyana, the earlier sloka also said that Agachi Nachataha, right? Punya Pravalashitaha. The Punya comes like a flowers and the old Papa goes as this thing. So that is Kalishagrit. And then Sadvasana. Vasanas become purer and so on, right? And it is Tira. It is there. It is there today. It is there yesterday. It is Satyam. It is there tomorrow. It is Trikala Atita Anubhavaha. It will happen 1,000 years back also, this will be true. Today also it will be true. Million years later also it will be true. This Shambhudhyana Sarovara will give us that Makaranda is the truth. It is an eternal entity which we should go after. So all these are what Shankaracharya brings through this story. So there are two beautiful similes. One is the garden, other is the lake. And the shloka before that said Manas is a bird. So the bird needs a garden and the lake. So that is what he actually brings these two shlokas. I think with this we will close down for the day. Next week, there is a possibility we may not have a class. We may go out of station, in which case I will anyway inform. Yeah. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om